trying it out. Today we're here for one mission, to free Anthony Sims. We'll also discuss some structural issues with the office that are causing these problems. Maybe we can start with a chant. I say free, you say Anthony Sims. Free!
Anthony Sims! Anthony Sims! Anthony Sims!
Anthony Sims! Right, they're upstairs. Hopefully they can hear us. So just a little, the program, we're going to hear from Anthony's attorneys just to explain a little what's going on with the case, lay down some background. We'll hear from Anthony's family and friends and supporters. Right, this is somebody with a lot of support inside and out, who will do a lot of good in our community once we can get him free. We'll hear from other people who have been exonerated about the structural issues that we're having with the Brooklyn.
I'm going to go stand in the chat and I'll be right back. You got it?
Yeah, got it.
Hold it, don't hold it like that. Hold it like this.
And it's currently leading the conviction review unit. The conviction review
And you can go back and forward to Jeff, put it on him, make him the center. He's speaking.
Exonerations in the last 4 years. It's not acceptable. There's hundreds, if not thousands of cases that are still being ignored. So one more time. Free! Anthony Sims! Free! Anthony Sims! Free!
For anybody, huh? For everybody.
Get everybody in there every now and then.
So go over there, pues, go.
Jail for hell! I'm going to bring up Jonathan, one of Anthony's attorneys will come and just give us a run through of the case.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here to demand that D.A. Gonzalez free Anthony Sims. I'm Jonathan Hiles, and I represent Anthony along with Tom Hoffman. Now, Anthony has served 23 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit. The evidence of his innocence is overwhelming, and that evidence is included in court papers we filed in December and April. Next Wednesday, May 12th, the DA's office is scheduled to respond to our motion to vacate Anthony's conviction. We're calling on DA Gonzalez to do what is right, to join our motion to vacate Anthony's conviction and to let him go home where he belongs. Right? Now, I'd like to give a little background on Anthony's case, which was deeply flawed from the start. Anthony was convicted in 1999 of murdering Lee Run Chun, a young man who was killed by a single shotgun blast while he was working at a Chinese restaurant in Bushwick. Now, the evidence always pointed away from Anthony and toward his high school friend, Julius Graves. The shotgun used in the murder was kept in a lockbox in the apartment where Julius lived. After the murder, Julius took the gun, cleaned it of his fingerprints, and gave the gun to a 14-year-old to hide from police. This is undisputed. Yet Anthony was charged because Julius and those close to him came forward to implicate Anthony in order to get Julius off the hook. Anthony was also charged because police and prosecutors were more intent on getting a conviction than getting to the truth. Now at trial, even as the deck was stacked against Anthony, the jurors had their doubts. They deliberated for several days and they deadlocked. But then they reached a compromise. They acquitted Anthony of intentional murder, which the crime clearly was, but they convicted him of depraved indifference murder, which they thought was a lesser charge. Now, what's become clear in the last year is that Anthony wouldn't have been convicted of anything if police and prosecutors had not withheld evidence of his innocence. This included a report from an eyewitness who told police she saw Julius running out of the Chinese restaurant with a shotgun, the murder weapon. Also undisclosed was evidence of benefits that Julius Graves received in exchange for his testimony. This included a free pass for his possession of the shotgun, as well as a free pass for his probation order. And Julius also received free meals, free housing that totaled roughly $25,000 over the course of the year, undisclosed. And the list of evidence that was withheld at trial goes on. It's too long to enumerate, but it includes police reports that totally discredit the prosecution witnesses and also reveal that a friend of Julius implicated him in the murder. Now, based on all this evidence, we filed a motion in December to vacate Anthony's conviction and to dismiss all of the charges against him. We really hope that the DA's office would join our motion because it's so obvious that Anthony is innocent. But the DA's office has not joined our motion, nor have they conducted an impartial investigation. In fact, they stated that they intended to oppose Anthony's motion before they reviewed the NYPD case file and before they even interviewed the witness who saw Julius Graves running from the Chinese restaurant at the scene of the crime with a shotgun, the murder weapon. Now, this isn't the first time that the DA's office has resisted an impartial review of Anthony's case. In 2017, Anthony applied for relief to the DA's conviction review unit, but the review unit denied his request without conducting an investigation. Now, notably, the head of the conviction review unit, Mark Hale, is the same prosecutor who prosecuted Anthony. And Hale also prosecuted an innocent man named Kelly Cooper, who we'll hear from later.
Jail for Hale!
Jail for Hale!
Jail for Hale!
Whose conviction was dismissed last year based on egregious evidence suppression. And Kelly Cooper also had appealed to the conviction review unit, and they had declined to investigate his case. So how is the prosecutor who has these wrongful convictions the head of the conviction review unit? And why is the DA's office opposing Anthony's release despite all this evidence of his innocence? Now, it's not too late for Hale. It's not too late for Gonzalez to do the right thing. And what that means is just doing what's in his power. He can join our motion to vacate Anthony's conviction and to let him go home. We're just asking DA Gonzalez to do what is right. So DA Gonzalez, we call on you to join our motion to let Anthony reunite with his parents, with his sons, and with his wife. Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims!
Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims!
Free Anthony Sims. Guys, you can do this, girl. You can do this. To see all of you here, Anthony would be so touched. Because that's what he does. He touches it. Talk loud. First, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Vocal New York, Nick and Kelly and the whole Vocal family for organizing this and bringing us all together. So thank you. A special thanks to Tom Hoffman, our attorney, and Jonathan Howes. Your dedication, your brilliant mind, your pure heart, and your tireless efforts to bring Anthony home means the world to us. Because we know that not everybody has a Tom Hoffman and a Jonathan Howes to help you get to this place. So
Right.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
And last but not least, on the thank you list, I don't know if everybody knows this, but it's National Prayer Day.
Oh, wow.
So we want to thank God for everything that He's doing, for bringing us all together and for advocating for my husband. So thank you, God, for that.
Thank you, God.
Bear with me, because in order to know Anthony, you have to know our story, you have to know his journey and who he is. So just bear with me. When I thought about what I wanted to say today, I was going to tell you a story about our love. It's a love and basketball story, if you will, if you've ever seen that movie. We met in junior high school in 1988. He was the captain of the basketball team. I was captain of the cheerleading team. It was a whole cliche, I know, but that's how it happened. So I'll break this down into quarters, right? The first quarter we met. Just like teenagers, you think you're going to be together forever. And 3 years together as a teenager is like an eternity. But of course, we broke up, as teenagers do, and we went our separate ways. He went on to get married and have children, so did I, and we carried on with our lives. The second quarter of this story, going on with our lives, I didn't know at the time he was involved and wrongly convicted of this crime. I didn't know that he was suffering all this time, and that hurts me. In the third quarter of our lives, God brought us back together, and we got married and fulfilled our childhood dreams of living our happily ever after. But we're not here solely to talk about our love story. We're here to talk about this unjust system that our family has endured since the 1990s era of wrongful conviction, that Charles Hines era, that we all know. The only thing Anthony is guilty of is considering Julius a friend. In exchange, a friend who committed this murder and got his family alive. In exchange for his testimony, as Jonathan mentioned, he was compensated in rent and food for his family. He actually got paid for murdering somebody and violating his own probation. Where is the justice in that? Just like Jonathan said, this case never added up from the beginning. Before his wrongful arrest, he was a hard-working man. Worked for Bell Atlantic at the time. He had a young family at home, which he was solely responsible for. He just bought a car, was saving to buy a home for him and his family. Now why would a responsible, tax-paying black man throw it all away when he has so much going for him? It doesn't make sense. And it should have made sense to the detectives and the prosecutor, but they didn't hesitate to send him to prison. One of the saddest parts of this story is that it's not an anomaly. There are so many men, like my husband, like a lot of men here today, like Kelly Cooper, like Robert Majors, Derek Hamilton, Roger Clark, and the list goes on and on. Terrence Rice, I'm so sorry, Terrence Rice. These men's lives were taken from them. And they were subject to a system that was designed to strip them of everything, including their dignity. The other sad part is that Lin Hun Chin, who is the victim that was killed in this crime, they never received the justice that they deserve. So both families suffer in this scenario. As Jonathan mentioned, in 2017, we took a chance and we figured we would apply to the Conviction Review Unit to see if they would reinvestigate this case. After all the he had gone through, we still tried to have faith in the system and see if they were going to do the right thing. But we were naive, because of course they wouldn't. Why would they, when the person that convicted him or prosecuted him is the same person making these decisions? The integrity of that unit is totally compromised with Mark Hale at the helm. He needs to go. Point blank.
Go to jail.
Go to
Jail.
For those of you who don't know Anthony very well, there's no other way to describe him other than amazing. And I'm not just saying this because he's the best husband ever and because I love him. But I've talked to so many people whose lives he's touched. He's a gentle giant. He's a jokester. You guys know he is a certified nut. But he's passionate in his beliefs. He's honest and loyal, intelligent, direct, and protective over the people that he loves and cares about. Whether it be helping his comrades put together their parole packets, or facilitating alternative to violence programs, helping with resumes, or even serving as an in-house therapist, he has not wasted the time that was given to him or taken away from him. Instead, he's dedicated his life to helping others and bettering himself, because that is how his parents raised him, Linda and Jesse. That is how he has raised his children, even from behind prison walls. This is an example of his work. This is the kind of man we're here to support. This is the man we are demanding freedom for. A man who, when released, has decided to dedicate his life to helping others get acclimated in society, not just physically, but mentally, because that's the only way they're going to be successful. In closing, standing here today and looking at all of you, we are in the fourth quarter of this journey, but we're not alone. We have all of you helping us to win this lopsided game that has been rigged from the start. District Attorney Everett Gonzalez can turn this whole thing around and make the decision to free an innocent man. We pray that he will step up to vacate Anthony's conviction. We pray every day that he takes a hard look at this, all the discrepancies, the lies, the prosecutorial misconduct, and finally send a son, a father, a friend, and a husband home to his family. So DA Gonzalez, if you are listening, if you are watching, please make the right move. The ball is literally in your court. So everybody, free Anthony Sims!
Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims!
Well, first off, guys, I didn't prepare a speech and I apologize for the speech.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry, guys, I didn't have time to prepare a speech, so I'm going to talk from the heart.
And talk a little louder.
And, I'm going to start this off by saying free Anthony Sims, right? Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims!
Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims!
And so the type of my father was taken from me at an early age. I was only 3 years old, 24. At the time, he was a provider, loving father, new father, right? Just me and my brother. As you guys heard, he just got a car. He was working well, doing all this good stuff. And in fact, I need to touch on these two right here, because these two women right here are very special. If it wasn't for them, none of this happens, right? So I'm going to start this off by saying this woman right here, my mom, she took us through the first bit of this bid of my dad's over there for the past 23 years, right? Without her keeping us, bringing us back and forth to the visits, working 2 jobs, leaving her sons at home, right? She had to sacrifice a lot just to keep a family structure via the jail system. It was very tough. Things happened, so into the next quarter. Keisha, the other my second mom, assembled the super team. We have these two great women. We have Jonathan and Tom. Without their help, I don't even know where I would be today. I'd probably be in a corner crying somewhere. Talking to the mic, I apologize. And so I don't want to make this a sob story. I want to touch on the positivity of my dad. Every story I ever heard of my dad is great. So I hear stories from people's lives he touched in prison. He's in prison, still touching people's lives out here, still and bettering these people outside. I don't know what kind of octopus this man is, but he reaches, and he's a mentor, he's an educator, He's an excellent man. You're gonna hear that from everybody that talks about him today. And that's not a cliche. It's just literally, you don't hear any bad stories about this man. I wouldn't be the man I am today without him. And he taught me to be a man while behind bars. So I'm very grateful for him. There's so much to say about him. You know, we just need him home so that he can help other people as well. I feel personally, this is a few others around me, feel as though he can, my dad can better New York City. He can better any city, any place he gets to. He's just such a mentor and educator that we need him home. And he was wrongfully convicted. Our family suffered, a lot of families suffered, and we really want Mr. Gonzalez to do the right thing. So if you're out here and you're listening to us, please, Mr. Gonzalez, do the right thing. We need him home. Please. Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Khalil Cumberbatch, and I'm just honored to be here, to even be asked to come and say a few words about my experience with Anthony. Myself, as a few other people here, spent time with Anthony during our incarceration. And when I went into the system, I was a young man. I was 21 years old. I was in a maximum security prison. First time ever being involved in the criminal justice system. And the reality is that I didn't know what the hell I was going to do to survive the 11-year sentence that I had in front of me. Unbeknownst to me, Greenhaven, which is the facility where I ended up at, had a long history of men who had developed and ran and facilitated programs for other incarcerated men, particularly young incarcerated men. And Anthony Sims, along with Ramel Shula and a slew of other men, were really there to kind of mentor me, to kind of keep me out of the yard, keep me out of trouble, keep me engaged in programs that were going to be helpful to me. And you know, just to hear words from his wife and his son, Anthony is that type of person that he has nothing but positivity to add into everyone's life. From the moment that I met Anthony Sims, there's one thing that will come right off of him and permeate you into your soul, which is his smile. He has a very infectious smile. All of these pictures here, that's Anthony, aka Ant Sims, in summary. Is that irregardless of his situation, and I've met other wrongfully convicted men who by right have a reason to be upset. They don't want to talk, they don't want to joke with you, they don't want to help you, they just want to focus on getting home. And they have a right to do that, but Ant is not like that. He works diligently to be a resource not only to himself, obviously to his family, but also to young other incarcerated men such as myself. I would not be the person that I am today. I would not be the advocate, the person that I am today if it were not for people like Anthony Sims, if it were not for Anthony Sims. And I agree wholeheartedly with his son that New York City and other cities across this country, we need men like Anthony here. Our young men are struggling. Brothers like Shandu can attest to that. He's working in the community every day and sees what our young men are struggling with, and men like Anthony Sims need to be here. Because again, he can only do positive because he's done it for the past 23 years. I am a prime example of that. And I'll tell you one quick story about how Anthony is not only, you know, a gentle giant. He's not only a fun-loving guy, but he's also, to some extent, a prophet. And I'll tell you a story. of a jewel that he dropped on me at a very young age, and I just couldn't understand it until a couple of years later. Someone mentioned the Alternative to Violence Project, which is a program where I met Anthony at. And it's a workshop style setting, it's facilitated conversation, and Anthony was one of the lead facilitators. And in this workshop, he said, in life, you could essentially aim to be three things. You could be the rock, you could be the egg, or you could be the tea bag. What is this guy talking about? So he said, think about that, because the rock, for example, when placed in hot water, nothing changes the rock. The rock remains who it is on the inside and the out. An egg, if you place it in hot water, the inside becomes hard. But a tea bag, if placed in hot water, changes its environment. And as young men, we should constantly strive to change our environment for the better.
I'm going to be using that.
That's right. Now, if anyone uses that, we gotta give credit where credit is due. Because I don't know if that's an ancient Chinese proverb, but that came from Anthony Sims for me. Anytime I tell that story, Anthony Sims told me that story. But I say that, obviously, I say that to just really highlight to you how much this man has really forced other men, and not only young men, because I know Ramel and him were tag team partners, and I know he's going to speak soon. But I just had to come here today to say, we need this man home. His family needs him, his wife needs him, his parents need him, but society needs him. I don't think I need to stress anymore how fragile our society is today. And the more ammunition, the more tools that we have in our tool belt to make sure that our society is going to get stronger and better, is better off for all of us. And Anthony Sims and others like him are a key to that. So I urge the district attorney to do what is right, reunite Anthony with his family, do it today, do it as soon as possible. And when he comes home, he'll tell more stories about, he'll share more wisdom with us. And only the way that Anthony can, with a big smile and a big heart. So thank you again, Tom, and your team. Thank you again.
Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims!
Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims!
Free Anthony Sims. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly Cooper. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was incarcerated for 27 years for a crime I did not commit. Didn't know anything about. I'm here for Anthony Sims. He's a good brother. I was in penitentiary with him. We talked. We down there and cried, but we ain't let the tears out because we was in prison.
Yeah, can't do that.
He made me comfortable letting them know that he's there. He was innocent, I was innocent. So we said things to each other that we wouldn't have said to other prisoners. Because when you're in prison, you got to betray yourself as being tough. So people with crimes that didn't commit, small crimes, they say they did it. Just because of the environment they in. But Anthony and myself, we comfort each other. We told each other, yo, we innocent. We're going to get out one day. So enough about me. I'm going to talk about Anthony Sims, who kept me strong. The same DA that prosecuted Anthony Sims' case, Mark Ham, was my DA. 27 years that man had me in jail, Mark Ham. I couldn't go to the CRU unit because he's the chief of the CRU. He's the head of the CRU. So I had to go around that. I went to 2 parole boards. They hit me at the parole board with 2 years because I ain't admit to the crime. So, please, Erin Gonzalez, please, I'm begging you, cut Anthony Sims loose. Please. Please cut him loose. He's an innocent man. Mark Hale has to go. He murdered me for 27 years. Mark Hale murdered me, not wrongfully convicted. He murdered me for 27 years. I was dead. I was in hell.
Right.
I was in hell. Please, Eric, I'm begging, I'm praying. Anthony Sims, let him go. Please. Please let him go. That man is innocent. Y'all killing us. Y'all killing us. Y'all killing us, man. You got so many wrongful convicted people in jail. It's sad. Black Lives Matter, man. Come on, man. Can we get a shot? Can we get a shot, man? We need it. Y'all wearing us out, man, but we gonna fight. We ain't gonna give up. Nah. I can't fight. Nah, I can't fight. I can't fight. And God bless me. And Anthony Sims is coming home. Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims.
I love all of y'all for being here. It means so much to me. And Anthony Sims, I know it means so much to him. I know he's going through it. I know. I've been there. And a lot of other brothers been there, and we know what he's going through. He's strong. When I was in prison, I seen guys kill themselves, hang up for being in that cell. We warriors, man. We gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep fighting. Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims. We gotta fight. I love y'all. Thank you.
No peace. No peace. No peace.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roger. I would like to speak about the history of the district attorney office here in Brooklyn. For the past 20-something years, since the late Charles Hines been in office, he been railroading black and brown individuals and even white individuals. If you was poor and you came through the system, he would violate your rights to get you conviction. Some of these same prosecutors that work for Charles Hines, those that left, admitted that the goal was to gain the conviction. Do not come here without a conviction. That was his policy.
Right.
Now, we have a self-proclaimed progressive district attorney who is claiming that he's so good. However, he's refusing to remove thousands of convictions. People is showing him real evidence. Sometimes judges reverse the conviction and he would appeal it to the racist court of appeals. It's not right. You know, I myself am wrongfully convicted. I've been asking him for years to remove my conviction, and he haven't done it. This man does not care about justice. He only cares about protecting those assistant district attorneys' career that he had back here. That's all he cares about. He may play and think and do little things and remove small convictions, and he may be better. Anybody could be better than Charles Hines, but he's not better. You know, so that's the gripe I have with this district attorney, is that they violate people's rights for years, for decades. And now when it's time, individuals we're not gonna forget. We're gonna come every year until we appoint a district attorney that is gonna be fair and is gonna listen to every case and is gonna remove the convictions. Don't tell me that the homicide detective Luis Garcella is the only one who was framing black and brown individuals. Don't tell me that. There was a lot of that going on. but the district attorney is refusing to listen to them. So this is why I'm here to say clearly, a person should not be released because they're nice. If the evidence is clear and in the Sims case is clear that he's innocent, so why on earth they still want to hold on to the conviction? What are they afraid of? Remove the conviction and let the man go. And that goes for all the cases that goes before them. They don't like to remove conviction. And it's not right. That's all I'm here to say.
Thank you. Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims.
Hold it. I'm stand in, Jeff. There you go.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jeff Deskovic, and I'm the founder of the Jeffrey Deskovic Foundation for Justice, which has as its goal freeing wrongfully convicted people. We've been able to bring 10 people home, and we pursue policy changes aimed at preventing these wrongful convictions from happening in the first place. I'm an attorney. But most importantly, I was wrongfully imprisoned also. I was there for 16 years. I fought my case when I was 16. I was wrongfully convicted at 17 of a murder and rape which I didn't commit. And ultimately, I was exonerated through DNA testing 14 years ago. So fighting wrongful conviction, freeing people, and preventing what happened to me from happening to other people is my mission in life. I can't forget about the people that I metaphorically left behind. Turning to the issue of the Conviction Integrity Unit. When a Conviction Integrity Unit is run the right way by ethical people that have the goal of freeing wrongfully convicted people, the results that can be obtained are spectacular. Right here in Brooklyn, 23 people were exonerated in 2.5 years when District Attorney Thompson was the district attorney. DA Gonzalez ran on a plank swearing to continue the legacy of District Attorney Ken Thompson. That's not what's happened. It's ground down to a halt, about 2 exonerations a year, as compared to 23 in 2.5 years for DA Thompson. Many credible wrongful conviction claims have been rejected by the unit, and people have had to litigate and spend extra years in prison fighting for justice, while still other people haven't even been able to get a decision. The man next to me, well, let's speak in a minute, John Whitfield, in prison for 25 years, hasn't gotten a decision in many years from the Conviction Integrity Unit. We were able to help get him out on parole so that he can be free while the slow wheels of justice turn. But his goal, like that of many other people that are here, is to clear his name. We can't have that happen if the Conviction Integrity Unit is simply going to be going back to the old ways when it was when D.A. Hines was here, rubber stamping convictions. It's turned out that the head of the unit, Mark Hale, has himself been involved in wrongful convictions, engaging in prosecutorial misconduct, withholding evidence of innocence. So in light of all of that, how is it that he can continue running the very unit that where he produced some of those wrongful convictions early on? It just isn't inconsistent with justice. I'd like to ask John Whitfield to say a few words.
Listen, I'm going to be very brief. I just want to say is that my case has been pending in front of the Conviction Review Unit for almost 5 years. I've been out 8 years, and 5 of those years has just been sitting, waiting, and waiting. Now, the amazing thing about my case is that a governor looked at my case, and he even actually gave me a special parole board here. The parole board actually read the evidence of my innocence, and they were shocked and amazed. They could not believe that the courts did not fix this issue. I'm not going to go into the intricate details, but let me tell you something. There is a clear pattern of blatant violations. I mean, evidence, clear-cut evidence of innocence that's being suppressed, misrepresented, destroyed, and hidden from juries for years. It took me 15 years of my incarceration, of living in the prison law library, and a lot of these gentlemen here, we lived in the law library. You know when a person is innocent because their home is the prison law library. And we lived in there and fought and fought and fought. It took me 15 years to find out that the district attorney held several clear-cut pieces of evidence with the man telling his people he had nothing to do with it. And with that, I want to say thank y'all, and please, district attorney, let Mrs. Sims out. Please, we gotta get something. Enough is enough. Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Robert Makers. I'm wrongly convicted of a crime, not in this borough, but in Queens. This is a nationwide prosecuting misconduct going on, not just in Brooklyn, Queens, and the other boroughs, but nationwide. Mark Ells did the same thing prosecutors did in Queens. And for 23 years, close to 23 years, I was held accountable for a crime I did not commit. Now, I can relate with Mr. Sims, because he's going through the same thing. Mark Ells should be held accountable. That's why these bills come into play, because they have not been held accountable for all these years. They constantly sweep things under the rug, evidence that should have been presented during trial, and they still allow that to happen. So, like I said, Anthony said, I'm here for him, not for myself, to just help get him out of prison. He's innocent, just as I was, and he should be released. Like I said, Mark Ells should be held accountable. So, DA Gonzalez, please let that man go. I'm not going to stay here too long, because I know other people got to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Free Anthony Sims.
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 I stand here today because I believe that integrity unit is supposed to be fair, it's supposed to be just, it's supposed to be transparent. Ken Thompson put this unit together. And one of the first things he did when we protested against him was put somebody from the outside in. He brought Mr. Sutherland in from NYU to run the unit, from Harvard to run the unit. They set policies and practices in place that made it transparent. And because of that unit, I was exonerated in 2015. It was Ken Thompson leadership that told guys like Mark Ells and people in his unit what he wanted out of that unit. He watched them, he governed them, he led them. When I wrote a letter to Ken Thompson, he answered and said, I received your letter. Derek, I assure you, I will call a spade a spade. We don't have that transparency anymore, and that's why we're here. Anthony Sims deserved that transparency. His lawyers should be involved in every process of his case. When the prosecutor speaks to a witness, they should be on the phone. Why? Because the appearance of impropriety is too high of degree for it not to be. We are supposed to be working together, defense counsels and prosecutors, and coming to a just result. If you ostracize them, if you limit them, if you don't let them know what's going on, that is not an integrity unit. Right? That is not an integrity unit. Right. That is sub-roles of secret proceedings that we won't tolerate. Right. We come to Brooklyn to actually unit change. We change. We don't care who leads it. We want it to be fair. Right. We want it to be just. Right. We want it to be transparent. Right. We don't want to guess what's happening in those rooms when you speak to a witness. Right. We don't want to hear tape recordings when your witness coming, you're nice to them, and ours coming, you're antagonistic to them. Right. You're scaring them. Yeah. You're intimidating them. Right. Right. We want a fair proceeding. If we are here to get to the truth, let it just be that. Right. There's many cases like Anthony Sims where people are complaining about receiving injustice from the same office. I supported Eric Gonzalez. I went out and asked people to vote for him. I demand more from him. Ken Thompson governed you, led you, showed you the way the unit should be ran. We ask you today to follow that predecessor. Follow his lead. Don't go on your own course. Don't go back to Charles Hines' era. I stood out here with other people that actually Charles Hines was removed at a time when people said it couldn't happen. We accomplished that task. We do not want to be back here asking that you be removed. It is your year campaigning right now as we stand here. Right. You're running for office against nobody. Right. Don't let us find a candidate to run against you. We believe in justice. We believe in transparency. We demand it. We need to know what's going on with Anthony Sims' case. We need to know what's going on with Terrence Wright's case. We need to know what's going on with Kevin Smith's case. There's many different cases. Right. Sal is here today. Sal Dagon. He did a lot of years and you was a prosecutor. We got evidence before you right now that he's innocent. Look at it. become involved. So leaving, I want to say two things. That if we are to get justice, we are to demand justice. We're not begging anything. You're the district attorney of Brooklyn, right? You are our district attorney. If you don't do your job, we're going to remove you. You on notice. Like people out here got other things doing in their lives, right? People are asking that their breadwinners come home. The fathers of sons and daughters. You heard from a son that said he was 3 years old when his father was removed. My kids was 3. I did 21 years for something I didn't do. Let his father come home if the evidence demands it. Follow the evidence. If the evidence say he must be free, free him. And that's all we ask. I want
Good morning. I'm here to speak on behalf of Terrence Rice. Terrence Rice is convicted of attempted murder of 3 police officers, and he was sentenced to 75 years to life. He has maintained his innocence since the day he was arrested. He did not commit this crime. His case has been down here in the CRU since 2015, and we're still waiting to hear something. In this case, police officers claim that he was in a first-floor window in Tilden houses, engaged in a gunfight between 2 groups of guys. They claim that he then saw them and turned to them and started shooting at them. They claim that they shot back at him in this first floor window. They claim that he ducked back down in the window, shot some more, and then jumped out of the same exact window to get away. Now, really, I think we all know that if he would have jumped out of that window after he was supposed to be shooting at him, I wouldn't be here today because he would be dead.
That's right.
He would be dead. Now, I'm asking Eric Gonzalez. I know you have your CRU and they're reviewing his case, but I'm asking you to take a specific look at his case because there's no ballistic evidence to support what these police officers said. Joseph Amaki, John Cavano, John Sikovic, you lied. When I personally called the police officer to speak to him, to beg him to tell the truth, I called the precinct and I said, I want to speak to you about Terrence Rice in this case. He said, who's Terrence Rice? Really? If he's somebody that tried to kill you, wouldn't you remember who he is?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you remember who he is? When we went to John Sikovik's house to speak to him, to ask him to tell the truth, he wasn't there, but his father was there. And when we talked to him, he said, oh, you mean that case where there was a gunfight between 2 people and they shot up the building? Why didn't he say, oh, when that guy tried to kill my son? Because it didn't happen. So Eric Gonzalez, I'm asking you, please, you take a specific look at this case. You ran on the platform and said you were going to continue with Ken Thompson's strategies and platforms. We're asking you to continue. You said you were going to look at guys who had were 23 years old when they got locked up. He was 23 years old and he's going to be 55 this year. For something that never happened, nobody got hurt. So Eric Gonzalez, please do your job.
Free Terrence Rice. Free Terrence Rice. Free Terrence Rice.
Free Terrence Rice. Free Terrence Rice. Free Terrence Rice. I just want to thank every one of y'all for coming out today. My name is Kevin Smith. I'm the executive director of an organization called Families and Friends of the Wrongfully Convicted. I'm here to let each and every one of you know that there's a conflict of interest in this office right here behind us. Why? Right. Because the Conviction Review Unit is supposed to be an independent entity. That's not the case. Take my case, for instance. ADA Paul Burns called the witness to court and told him to come in and lie on me. The witness came before the court and told him I was innocent. Paul Burns locked this witness up, threatened him with 7 years, threw him in a police cell, threw him in the 81st precinct, and kept him there for 4 days and told him you're not getting out that cell until you testified against Kevin Smith.
Same prosecutor in my case.
After being 5 days in that condition, inhumane conditions, not having a shower, not having no hot food, not being able to change clothes, not giving a phone call to talk to his own lawyer and his family, he came to court and lied on me. I was found guilty for that. The Conviction Review Unit ignored Paul Burns' action. Why? Because Paul Burns still working in that office. And not only do Paul Burns still work in that office, he's a senior executive in this office. Him and Mark Hale runs the Conviction Review Unit. My case laid in the Conviction Review Unit for 8 years without a determination. This is the injustice that's going on to my family, the Anthony Sims family, the Terrence Rice family, and all other families. I'm here this day to say to Eric Gonzalez, do what Kim Johnson did. Set up an independent review unit. He went out like Derek said and got Ron Sullivan. Why? Because he knew that prosecutors would not police themselves.
That's right.
We expecting Markel, Paul Burns, and countless other prosecutors to give us justice. That's injustice. During the George Floyd protest, Eric Gonzalez, you know what he did? He put out a task report and held it up high and showed all the people he exonerated and looked for all the conditions. I have 5 of them contributing factors in my case, but you know what they did? They ignored them. That's an injustice not only to me, but to my family and to my community, to Anthony Simmons family, to Terrence Wright family, to James family. We cannot breathe. Why? Because the Brooklyn District Attorney has his feet on our neck. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives
My name is Salvatore Dagone. I'm home tomorrow will be 90 days after serving 32 years. I was 20 years old when I went to prison. Poor, had legal aid lawyer. Mark Hill was my prosecutor. He has my case sitting in there since 2015 when somebody else actually confessed to committing the crime.
Same here.
He withheld all kinds of evidence he withheld from me.
To me.
I just don't understand. How can you have the same person that convicted you review his case? It makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand it at all. They created a conviction review unit in the Attorney General's office. It's ran by Gail Heatherly. It's supposed to be for when there's a conflict of interest. This man prosecuted me. Why is he reviewing my case? He's going to be biased. It should have been sent there, but instead it's sitting here. So I had to serve my whole sentence. I'm home almost 90 days now. He's still fighting the case. I'm waiting for a decision now. But it's Fox watching the henhouse. This is ridiculous.
That's right.
We vote these people in. They're supposed to be there to support us. A prosecutor's supposed to seek justice, not just get as many convictions as he can get. This guy Mark Hill has been in this office for over 30-something years. He's been there my whole sentence. He's been here. We submitted evidence to him to prove that their only witness against me, that they moved to California, paid for her rent, gave her all kinds of money to live on, never turned none of this information over to me, got her a job as an auxiliary police officer, never turned any of that over. He's still here. Why? We're supposed to be entitled to justice to review. I just want them to actually answer this, not give me legal loopholes. Don't tell me I should have filed this when my direct appeal was filed and all these other legal loopholes, because you don't want to address the issue. And the problem is, I don't have money. If it wasn't for Derek Hamilton, who got Justin Bonus to help me, I would be fighting this on my own as I was doing. I couldn't read or write when I went to prison. I got my GED, I got college, I became a paralegal, I was in that law library like that brother said. You know what's innocent. Right. You're in that law library
every day.
Every day.
All day.
All I'm saying is, let's make a unit that we get an actual review. We need somebody from the outside to oversee it. Independent review. Mark Hale needs to leave. He's been here too long. He's supporting Charles Hines and protecting all his own friends from all the dirt that they did.
Elizabeth Holtzman too.
Thank you, everybody.
That's who was in my case. Free Anthony Sims. Terrence Rice. Free Terrence Rice.
All those who wrongfully convicted.
I stand and I unite with my brothers and my sisters. My husband is Curtis Tucker. He has been incarcerated wrongfully for 33 years by this office here. Just like Derek spoke and everyone else spoke. When Tim Thompson and they created this unit, we had a chance. We were given a window of hope. A couple of months later, when Tim Thompson got sick, we were told that our case would no longer be looked at. Now, 33 years later, we just put in another motion and we were denied. This office, Eric Gonzalez, I stand with a picture of mine. Now she's 11. You stood next to her, took a picture with her at town hall meeting in Brownsville in 2018 and told her Dad should not be in prison. Dad should be with their children. 23, 30 years is too long to be still incarcerated. I will help you get your dad out. Now it is 2021. My husband will be 56 on May 21st. Went to prison when he was 23. Eric Gonzalez, you said that this office wanted to right their wrong. You also said that you realized that you are doing the wrong thing by turning in brown and black brothers and sisters inconsistently and wrong. You stood the other day when George Floyd verdict came down. You tweeted and you said, no longer will black and brown brothers and sisters be treated this way. So I stand with this crowd this afternoon to say that you need to do the right thing. I do not live in Brooklyn, but my family do. I will do what I need to do and have to do to get you out of this office. You come from the same communities both of us come from. You said that. East New York, Williamsburg. You know the injustice. Markel, Paul Burns, David Potter, all of you. You all are wrong. We deserve a second chance to have our loved ones here. And before I drove here today, I got a phone call from a girlfriend who works with me with releasing aged people in prison. Her husband had a release date on March 12th. Last night she got a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Her husband died. This is not right. It's not fair. We demand justice.
Right now. Don't be afraid. Release them.
That's right.
Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony
Free
Sims.
Anthony Sims. Free Terrence Rice.
Terrence Rice.
So I'm going to make this real quick, folks. My name is Anthony Beckford. I am the president and co-founder of Black Lives Matter Brooklyn. The injustice that we see here is nothing new.
That's right.
This is nothing but a continuation of the Charles Hines era. We've seen Charles Hines put many black bodies underneath the jails for unjust reasons. Many innocent bodies.
That's right.
If Eric Gonzalez was continued with his legacy as a DA, he needs to take heed to the voices that are here today.
Right, man. Right.
This is not a notice.
Right.
This is not an ask. This is a demand. Because the people are tired of crying. The people are tired of having to cry out for their families.
Right.
Justice isn't lip service.
Say that again, brother.
Justice isn't little placards and also little small tangible things.
Right.
That's right.
Justice is the huge picture of making sure that black bodies are no longer being used as fuel for this mass incarceration system.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
So if Eric Gonzalez want to do comprehensive planning, the first plan needs to be to release those who have been unjustly convicted.
That's right. That's right.
If Eric Gonzalez wants to have integrity in his integrity unit, then he needs to put those with integrity inside of that unit.
There you go.
If Eric Gonzalez wants to shine underneath the name of Ken Thompson, then he needs to run his office in the right way and make sure that no more black bodies are railroaded. To make sure that all black bodies who are unjustly convicted are free. To make sure that Mr. Sims, Mr. Wright, and many others are released immediately. Like I said, this is not an ask. This is not a plead. This is a demand.
Especially during COVID.
That's right.
Innocent during COVID.
Free Anthony Sims. Free Terrence Rice.
Right.
Free Curtis Tucker. Free the innocent. Free the innocent.
During COVID.
Free Anthony Sims.
Free
Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims. Anthony Sims is my third son. I have 4 altogether. Anthony Sims, I can't say enough about him. I love him to death. I love all of my sons, but with Anthony, he's just not my son. I can tell Anthony things that I can't tell nobody else, and he'll counsel me. He told me, he said, "Well, you need a counsel." I said, "And you counsel me." We talk. I love him. I said, "Anthony, I don't care what's going on. You can tell me anything." My son is so loving, so caring, so giving. And I just got to say this about that snake in the grass, Julius Graves. That bum, when he had nothing, he would go to Anthony's house. Anthony would open up his refrigerator and say, "Here, take it. You need money? Here." He even was the godfather to Julia's daughter. Anthony did everything for Julius, and he's gonna turn around and do this for my son? He did everything. He's so caring. He loves everybody, everyone. And I just want to say that my mother is going to be 88 years old, and she lives for Anthony. I don't know how long she's going to be on planet Earth, but she's living to see her grandson, Anthony. She is so attached to him. You know, she loves her grandson, but it's Anthony that keeps her moving, you know? So, and for me, where's parents? I'm in remission from breast cancer. My husband had a stroke in 2016. I need Anthony home with us. I need my son. I need him.
As a God-fearing man myself, I raised my son the same way. I raised my son to be a God-fearing man. Everybody that talks about my son knows how good he is. He give you shirt off his back if he had to.
Yes.
Anything he had, he'll give it to you. It's not a problem. Everybody talks about him. All these people one way. Let's love him. But that's how man that he is. And he needs to be here with his family and home with us. For the last 23 years, I've missed my son. And I want him home. Free him.
Yes.
Free Anthony Sims.
Free Anthony Sims. Free Anthony Sims.
Anthony Sims. And thank you to his lawyer, Tom.
Everybody that helped.
Everybody who helped. I do appreciate it.
We are gathered here today, black, white, brown, young, some not so young, to undo the injustices that happen.
Yes.
That's what we are here for.
Right.
My name is Tom Hoffman, and together with Jonathan Hiles, we have the privilege and the honor to represent the amazing Anthony Sims and his family. The Innocence Project conservatively estimates that 1% of those in prison today are innocent. That's at least 20,000 people who are in prison for something that somebody else did.
Right.
The system's resistance to admitting their mistakes and undoing these horrific injustices is staggering.
Oh, yeah.
Last year across the country, there were a mere 150 exonerations. In New York State, there were 15. While the judicial system euphemistically labels these human catastrophes as, quote, wrongful convictions, end of quote, or mistakes, the victims and their families describe these atrocities much differently. We do not say that police chokeholds, knees to the neck, bullets to the chest or back are wrongful. We call these acts for what they are, murders.
That's right.
Ask Mr. and Mrs. Sims, the parents of Anthony, who lost their son for 23 years and counting. Ask Anthony's sons, Antoine and Anthony Jr., who were 3 and 4 when their father was unjustly ripped away from them, and who are now 26 and 27. Ask his brothers. Ask the mother of Anthony's 2 children, who woke up one day in early June of 1998 when the father of her 2 young boys and the breadwinner was taken away. We may not see any blood. There may be no funerals, no eulogies, but make no mistake about it, these are murders, just the same.
Yeah.
That's right.
The people have now demanded that police officers that engage in these chokeholds, knees to the neck, and shooting murders be held accountable. Because of the people's voices, some of these officers are now being held to account. The people now demand the same accountability for prosecutors who engage in misconduct that cause these wrongful conviction murders. The Innocence Project recently studied 25 Brooklyn cases of what they call wrongful convictions occurring in the early 1990s and 2000s. 24 of the 25 victims were people of color. The Innocence Project found, and D.A. Gonzalez admitted, that 83% or 25 of the 25 cases were caused by prosecutorial misconduct. Yet, not a single prosecutor in these 25 cases were named or identified or held accountable for the loss of lives totaling 426 years. Not a single one. Some are still working in that building as we speak.
Right.
When Mr. Emmanuel Cooper, Kelly Cooper, spoke earlier, after 2 decades conviction was vacated based on the egregious suppression of evidence, the arrest of the key prosecution witness for 2 counts of attempted murder. They suppressed that. Brooklyn Supreme Court Justice Shillingford agreed with our request that there should be an independent investigation as to how the arrest of the key witness on 2 counts of attempted murder was suppressed for over 20 years. To date, no independent investigation has been conducted, and no one has been held accountable. Do you think we're stupid? The evidence of Mr. Sims is irrefutable. Yet the DA's office continues to uphold Anthony's wrongful conviction despite the truth staring them in the face. In the George Floyd murder, a witness, Donald Williams, testified that as Derek Chauvin continued to press his knee on George Floyd's neck, he felt like he was watching a murder take place in front of his eyes. We too are watching the murder of Anthony Sims taking place before our eyes.
That's right.
Free Anthony Sims! Free Anthony Sims!
Free Anthony Sims. D.A. Gonzalez, on May 12th, you are at a crossroads. You can go down the path of justice and undo this horrific travesty, or you can go down the path of defending your office and Mark Hale at any cost. D.A. Gonzalez, we have not only presented to you overwhelming evidence of Anthony's innocence, but we have provided to you a witness, a courageous witness, who came forward and who was at the scene and who named the actual killer, Julius Graves, running with the shotgun. Julius Graves was not the only person who put Anthony Sims in prison. It was the cops and the prosecutors. They knew that it was Julius Graves and not Anthony Sims. They knew it back then. D.A. Gonzalez, you have the power to undo this horrific injustice that has occurred to Anthony Sims and his family. Do the right thing. On May 12th, please join in the motion to vacate his conviction and allow Anthony to go home, to his parents, to his sons, to his wife, to his family. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh yeah, not too much. It's hitting really low. Probably got about 5 minutes. Yeah. The red. All right. Yeah, that's it.
Free Terrence Rice! Free Terrence Rice! Free Terrence Rice! Free Terrence Rice! Free Terrence Rice!
Thank you everybody for coming. Thanks everyone for coming. There's two things that people can do. One, in particular, if you live in Brooklyn, you can call the district attorney's office, let them know that you support Anthony's case. The phone number, 718-250-2001. You can call the DA, let them know that you support Anthony's case. Also, you can send an email to freeanthonysims@gmail.com, and we'll keep you involved in stuff that's happening.
Thank you.